So if you are going to get a concealed carry permit in New Jersey, there is a safety and awareness training on the New Jersey State Police website that they want you to take a look at. So it's a good idea to go over this firearms safety and awareness training that they have on there. And I'm going to go over it with you right now so that you can see what it's all about. And I'm going to tell you what I like about it and what I think is ridiculous about it. But before we do, hit that like and subscribe button, comment down below, let me know if you have even seen this before. So let's get started. It says safety, international rules of firearm safety. So the universal firearm safety rules are just 4 very important rules. And if you follow them at all times when you have your firearm, I made it 5, but I meant 4. If you follow them at all times, then you will be safe with that firearm and no one will get hurt. The first one is obvious. It is treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Even if you know you have unloaded it, treat it as if it's loaded, and that would just get you into the habit of acting like every single firearm is ready to go and live, and you will have to treat it that way no matter what. And it's funny watching people at a gun store. When you go and look at a gun, where do you point it? If there's people all over the place, you're trying to look at the sights, and yeah, I kind of do like a point towards the ground thing, or point towards maybe, okay, no one's over there, I can point it over there. It's you're trying to follow the safety rules, but you're also trying to check out the new guns, and you want to kind of, present them out there, and you're, where do I point this? I'll just point it at the ground. But that's always fun. Okay, so the first one is treat every firearm as if it's loaded. The second one is never point a firearm at anything or anybody that you do not intend to shoot or in a direction where an unintentional discharge may do harm. So obviously, if you're treating every firearm as if it's loaded, you do not want to point it in the direction of anything that you do not wish to kill or destroy, because it could. So that's the whole point. That could kill or destroy whatever it's pointing at. So you want to make sure it's never aiming at that. You don't want to flag anything or anyone. You want to make sure that muzzle for that firearm is always pointing maybe down at the ground or somewhere in a safer direction, because sometimes it can't be in a perfectly safe direction, but you want to make sure it's in a safe direction. Number 3, never place your finger on the trigger until you are ready to shoot and justified to fire, I say, or make the decision you have decided to shoot. So yeah, never put your finger on that trigger. I have seen a few people that I've trained who their finger just always ends up going into that trigger. And I'm like, oh, okay, take your finger off the trigger. Whoa, take your finger off the trigger, take it. And it's just something that they just nervously do. They're always putting their finger on the trigger. Make sure, no matter what, carry a toy around with you and just keep your finger off that trigger so you can get used to not putting your finger in that trigger until your sights are aligned and you have decided to shoot. And that's it. Never put your finger on that trigger. It's very simple, but for some people it's hard. And that is where those discharges happen, when you're just accidentally pulling that trigger. Maybe you're racking the slide, maybe you're loading a mag, maybe you're putting your gun in your holster, and your finger goes on that trigger, and that's when it happens. So keep your finger off the trigger at all times until you have decided to shoot. Okay, number 4, be sure of your threat and surroundings and what is beyond it. So obviously, if you're shooting at something, you want to make sure that bullet may go through, so you want to make sure whatever's behind that is also something that could catch a bullet, because if it goes through, then you also want to be safe with that. So you never just have to think about the target, but think about what is beyond your target. Okay, and then it says everyone is a part of the safety paradigm, safety acknowledgement. This kind of has like this 80s, I'll put it up on the screen here, it has this like 80s vibe, PowerPoint to it. It's funny. I don't know when this was actually put out, but it looks like it's got like an 80s vibe to it. Additional rules of firearm safety. It says muzzle discipline, the laser rule. Sounds serious, because it is. Be cognizant and aware of where your muzzle is always oriented. Treat the end of the barrel as if it had a laser through it, and you do not want the laser to make contact with an unintended target. Never hand a loaded weapon to someone in a non-combat situation. So that's a good one, actually. If you're maybe showing your buddy your new gun and it's in your holster, it's your concealed carry, you've got it on, it is loaded, ready to go, there's one in the chamber, never hand that to someone to show them, hey, check out my new concealed carry pistol. Unload it, take the round out of the chamber, make sure it is clear, check down the mag well, check down the barrel, make sure there's nothing in there, and then say, here you go, check it out. Be safe at all times, even when you're just trying to show someone your new gun. Never hand someone a loaded firearm, like it said, unless you're in combat and you're like, oh my goodness, we have to fight against this horde of, I don't know, zombies coming at us. Here, grab this, and you hand them a firearm. That's acceptable. But if you're just, going to show your buddy your new rifle or your new shotgun, whatever, make sure that it is unloaded when you hand it to him. And if he's experienced in firearms, which don't assume anyone is, he should immediately check if that gun has been cleared. And if it hasn't, he should clear it himself or hand it back to you and say, hey, clear this. So anytime anyone hands you a gun, make sure you clear it, or make sure, or tell them, hey, clear this. I'm not touching this. Clear that gun before you hand it to me, right? Okay. The next one, it says the world is 360 degrees. There is no downrange. So yes, if you are out, no matter where you are at all times, that firearm could be pointing anywhere. The world is 360 degrees. You have to make sure it's pointing in a direction where it is not going to hurt anyone. Then it says here, the best safety is between your ears. Think safety first at all times. I make corny sounds when I'm saying this, but it is 100% true. Before you do think about any technique or shooting stance or grip or any of that stuff, safety is your first thing, so everyone can go home at the end of the day. And you don't end up shooting someone in an accident when you're at the range or shooting with your friends, or, who wants to go home with a bullet in their leg? Nobody, right? Okay. So next one, so all that other stuff I just read, I agree. I agree with exactly what it said. Firearm safety rules, being safe, making sure everybody is safe when you're using a firearm. This gets a little squirrely for me. Home safety guidelines. Okay, we'll read what it says. All firearms should be unloaded and made safe prior to storage in a household. Secure the firearm in a safe place, locked and unloaded. Follow manufacturer guidelines on how to properly utilize the trigger lock device to render the weapon inoperable. Ensure that the ammunition and magazines are locked and secured in a separate location from the firearm. Educate your family as to its dangers. Do not show children how to load the weapon. Do not store firearm in easy access area. Okay. Do they really think this is a good idea? I know they're trying to make you be as safe as possible, but are you safe if you lock all your firearms away, unloaded, with that trigger lock through them, and someone comes in the door to hurt you and your family? How are you going to get to that gun, take the lock out, load it, rack around in, get to the bad guy? You're not. This makes no sense at all. This should not be on there. Come on, New Jersey State Police, do better. You know this isn't real. In a real life situation, you need to have at least one firearm that is ready to go. Maybe not one in the chamber, but ready to go in some way that it can be loaded very quickly or already loaded in a special type of maybe combination, biometric safe, so that you can access it like that, because seconds cost you your life in a home defense situation. So this is not realistic, and it's actually stupid. So New Jersey State Police, get on that. Change that and say most firearms you could have unloaded and in a secure place that your children cannot access, that only you and your wife can access, and the children don't know how to get in, and they can't get in. It's impossible for them to get in, and only you and your wife can. For those negligent people out there that don't have their firearms in a safe and they have it somewhere that their children can get it, you need to get a safe. You need to get something that your children cannot access. Don't just leave it in the zip-up bag that you get your rifle in and throw it under your bed and be like, that's good enough. No, it's not. I don't care how old your kids are. You never know. Obviously, once they're old enough to use a firearm, then that's a different story. And, you train them how to, and then they are going to be responsible with that firearm. But until that point, do not have it anywhere that they can access it, and maybe not even in the vicinity that they know about. Maybe they know you have firearms, but kind of keep them in a spot where there's no way that they're going to get them. All right. And then we got down here another home safety guidelines section. General guidelines are to render the weapon inoperable and inaccessible when storing them. We already talked about this. And then it says here from NJSA 2C 5815, a person who knows or reasonably should know that a minor is likely to gain access to a loaded firearm at a premises under the person's control commits a disorderly person's offense if a minor gains access to that firearm. So obviously you're in big trouble if a minor does gain access to the firearm that you should have secured in your home that they cannot access, that they should have secured in your home. So they should not be able to access it. The next part on here, it just goes over, it says semi-automatic handgun and revolver nomenclature. Nomenclature? Does anybody actually use that word? I guess so. It just goes over general knowledge of how these different types of handguns work, really. And it just says, please refer to the respective firearm manufacturer for specific nomenclature and operating procedures. It just goes over the difference between semi-automatic, which is a handheld firearm in which depressing the trigger when the magazine and chamber are loaded will fire the chambered round, extract and eject the spent shell casing, cock the weapon, load and chamber a round from the magazine. So I love when people say fully semi-automatic. That's one of my favorite things ever. Because I guess a semi-automatic is fully semi-automatic, right? Okay. The next one just says semi-automatic is trigger must be pressed for each round to be fired. All semi-automatic handguns are similar by design, however, most disassemble differently. Yeah, so, not every semi-automatic pistol looks exactly the same. The slide release might be a little different. The mag release might be a little different, but usually they're somewhat similar, but to break them down is different. Okay, and then it just goes over the different parts of a firearm, so you can look. If you're very new to firearms, this is good. It just tells you the name of everything: the slide, the trigger, the grip, the accessory rail, the slide lock, the rear sight, the front sight, all that stuff. So if you're new to firearms, it's good. It breaks it down for you, and you can see a little picture of a Glock, of course, because it's the most common handgun, and just goes over all that stuff. Making a semi-automatic safe. So it's telling you how to clear your gun. Point the weapon in a safe direction, remove the source of ammunition, drop the mag, lock the slide to the rear, visually and physically check the chamber. So I usually don't physically check the chamber, but a lot of people will stick their finger in the barrel or stick their finger down in the mag well. I just usually look, and I think that's good enough. And then I usually rack the slide a few more times it's just habit, racking the slide a few more times after. Safety, rendering a semi-automatic handgun safe. Do not trap rounds. Safely allow for the round to eject onto the floor. Do not attempt to catch it. Maybe, but every time you're racking that round out and it just goes flying in the air, I don't know. If you turn your gun upside down and rack it into your hand, it's up to you once you get comfortable. But yeah, you could just rack it and let it fly out onto the floor every time if you want to. It's all up to you, but just make sure it's clear. Revolver, handheld firearm in which the cartridges are inserted in individual chambers in a cylinder, which is mounted behind the barrel. The cylinder revolves to bring the chamber and cartridge in line with the firing pin. Revolvers, cool to own, don't conceal carry them. I don't know. Tactically, it doesn't make any sense. Less rounds, less accurate, harder to shoot. I don't know. I personally don't like revolvers for that. If you want to own them and shoot them just for fun, that's cool. But yeah, concealed carrying, I don't recommend it. Okay, we'll just go over, then it goes over the parts of a revolver. So same thing, just making anybody that's new to handguns know all the parts of a revolver. And it tells you how to make the revolver safe. At the end here, it just goes over notable New Jersey crime statutes related to firearms. 2C 24-4, endangering the welfare of a child. 2C 39-6, transporting a firearm within New Jersey. And 2C 58-15, loaded firearm easily accessible to minors. So yeah, those are just all things you might want to check out and read for yourself. Notable New Jersey crime statutes related to firearms again. Restrictions on lawful carrying. Here's one. This is at the very end here. It says, It is a 4th-degree crime to openly carry, regardless of liability insurance. So you cannot open carry in New Jersey. If you didn't know already, if you're new to this whole carry thing in New Jersey, you cannot open carry, which means it cannot be outside of your clothing so that people can see it. Number one, people in New Jersey be all freaked out because the gun culture is still all weird and people think you're weird if you carry a gun. But yeah, it has to be concealed under your clothing, under your jacket, in a little sling bag, somewhere that it is concealed if you have a concealed carry permit. And then it says safe carrying requirements. Lawful holders of a permit to carry a handgun cannot use or consume alcohol, cannabis. That's what I said in my last video. Be under the influence of alcohol. That's what I said in my last video. Carry outside the holster. Carry outside of the holster or carry in public in a holster that does not meet the carry requirements. Yeah, so it has to be under your clothes. And if an individual is stopped by law enforcement while carrying a handgun in public or in a vehicle, yes, you have the duty to inform. You have to tell them. So that is pretty much it. And I will post a link to it in the description of this video so you can check it out yourself if you want to. Or if you didn't even know it was there, you already have your carry permit, and you're like, oh, I didn't even look at that. Well, it's there. You can look at it. If you like this video, comment down below. Let me know if this helped you out. If you didn't, you know what? Comment down below. Let me know if you didn't even know that was there, because the first time I got my concealed carry permit, I didn't even know that presentation was there. But now I do. Be a responsibly armed citizen, everybody. Check this out. And have a great rest of your night. Thanks for watching another one of my videos. I really appreciate all my subscribers and everybody that watches my videos. You guys are really just blowing me up lately, and I appreciate it all. So thanks a lot. Have a great rest of your night, and God bless you all. Thanks a lot, guys.